slowly at it, because we don't want to clump. We want to kind of mix in there real smooth, but we don't want to waste a lot of time either, because once again, this process is in, this is in process, so we want to get this in, but we don't want to go too quick. Things just don't happen well when you get hurt. This always seems that way. So if you get ahead of yourself, chances are it's going to cost you more time than if you'd have just taken the time necessary to do it. There's the rest of the sugar. Here we are, sugar in it. Now what we got to do is get this thing up to another hard boil. Now, water, I guess it boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, but we have to get this up to about 223 degrees, and that's really the temperature for candy. Now when you stop to think about it, what is jelly? Well, really isn't anything more than just a soft fruit candy that we enjoy. It really, if you're looking for health benefits here, you've seen all the sugar I put in here, that's not what it's about. It's capturing the flavor of a time, a season of a fruit that, in this case, grows in the summer. Well, you pick it in the fall, but in the middle of winter, you can go back and enjoy the flavor of it. And that's what makes it nice. Well, let's go ahead and get this thing up here to that boil. I think I'm going to use my thermometer on this just to be sure. Now, when it gets to that boiling point, you're going to notice it's going to thicken noticeably. It's not subtle. I'm already feeling it, and that's when you know that it's getting to a gel. But I'm going to set this camera down and continue what I'm doing. Okay, now we are at that hard boil stage, the one where it cannot be stirred away. That's obvious. Now it really foams up on you. They say you could add a little bit of butter to it, and keep this foaming point down, but personally, I don't want butter in my Scuppernong jelly. Probably wouldn't bother a thing if you did, but I just would rather not. Now you got to be at a hard boil like this. You can't stir this away, and it has to be for at least 1 minute, and you can really feel it thickening up. Now this is going to make a change in the color and everything. Now one way to check this is to get you a glass of ice water and a middle tablespoon, and you want to come over here and get a little spoonful like so. And we'll set it down and give it a minute. Just leave it sit there for a minute. And we'll want to see, is it going to gel? I don't always find that to be 100% accurate, because there's been times I've had jelly that hasn't set. But yeah, when you go to clean the pot, it's, just as gelled as ever on the inside of the pot. One day I'll learn what I'm doing, but I think in this case, we'll see. Let's get back over here and see what we got. Now this is foam that's going to be on the top of this, and that's normal. You get that every time. You do that when you make plum jelly, grape jelly, it doesn't matter. All you got to do is get you a spoon and skim it off the top before you ladle this into your hot, jars, whether they be half pint or pint. I have some quarter pint jars I'm going to be using here. I just wanted to show you this part about scraping getting the foam up, and that's how it does. And if you see what's being left behind is this nice orange looking jelly. You don't want to waste too much time here. This is where you need to fill the jar. Well, I hope you can see this process, because I'm not going to be able to hold the camera when it comes to doing this. I'm going to have to move the before this sets on you. And you use this ball funnel as a great gadget because you know, when you're trying to do things, once again, you have to do it in a hurry in this case. Being fast and accurate is a hard thing to do. But you want to be a good 1/4 inch or so from the top edge of the jar when you fill these. You want to leave a little room for expansion because you got to run this through a water bath. So you know, you just don't want to be too close to the lid when it comes to processing it. And you notice the difference in the color already. And that's what we're looking for. It's a good sign. All the straining pays off because you don't wind up with cloudy jelly or weird stuff floating in it. It's a nice clear, you know, there's something to be said for visual appeal when it comes to the food you eat. Now you got to understand, remember how ugly they were when we started in the process of cooking them? I don't know, this stuff's already setting, you know, before you can even get it out the funnel. They could be good, they could be bad. It might wind up being too stiff, but at least it looks like it's trying to set up. Next, you want to get a wet paper towel and wipe the rims of your jars to make sure that you didn't get any jelly on this rim. This is very important right here, because if you do, the seals won't seal, and if it don't seal, well, guess what? You know, you can't put it up for several months because it's not going to be safe. I'll explain that here shortly. We get through this wiping these off, but that's really what you do, is just go around, make sure the lids are clean and free. I just had this extra one just in case, because sometimes you never know if you're going to have an extra jar out of the bunch. It could happen. One could hope. Anyhow, we continue with this. Okay, so there you are. Your jars are filled. Now what I do is I have a paper towel handy. I have this clean cloth. I don't know what that is. There's always something. But anyway, let's get this. You have a clean cloth. Let's take. I have one white lid here that I'm getting out of this little pot, and put down here. I'm going to pat it dry. Alright, then we're going to set it, we want to center it right here on the very top edge. You want it centered. You want to ensure that that fits perfectly on there. Now we're going to come back again. You see this rubber part? The whole reason we put this in the hot water in the first place is, other than sterilizing the lid, it's to soften this rubber, to ensure that it's going to have good contact with the edge of that rim. And you'll see why. Let's just keep moving along here. And getting one after another out until we get all of our lids on. I always like to make sure that that's sitting there, because it's disappointing to run these things through and then all of a sudden find out there's one that didn't seal, you know, but it happens. It will happen. Next, we want to put the bands on the jelly. And what I do is just take them as soon as I take them out of the dishwasher. Because like I said, I had them on the sanitized cycle. They get them real hot and make sure that, you know, everything. Now see here, I want to make sure that that doesn't move. A lot of times I find if you go backwards in here until you feel a click, you know, take that back. you will know that that's sitting perfect on here. That way you don't cross thread or it's not sitting on there wrong. Now we don't want to get it, you know, you don't want to get it so tight that that's not a good idea to get it down too tight. You just get it just moderately finger tight. And I can feel when that thing's going on just right. But there's a way, just like a lot of things, the nuts and bolts, what have you, that if you go backwards, you'll feel a click, and you'll know that you're not going to cross thread. Because you're just fighting yourself when you do things like that. Now see, right there was that point I was talking about. Here it is. See? Well, you probably couldn't. Another jar was in the way, but do them all like that, just moderately snug, until you get all your bands on. There you go.